Hello everyone, it is the 9th of February 2020, and I'm coming back to you with some news from Beijing about the coronavirus and all the stuff about the coronavirus and stuff. First thing I want to talk about is a patient from the Philippines has recovered from the coronavirus. Her partner died, sadly, but she has now recovered. She's 38 years old. Her partner was how old? I'm not sure how old the partner was, but she's 38 years old and she has recovered, which is a great sign. It means that if you get infected with the virus, you're not necessarily going to die and you're not necessarily going to be in life-threatening conditions or whatever. So that is a good sign. It'll be interesting to see what happens to the other 30-odd thousand people who are infected, whether their situation gets to a critical stage and then they recover, or whether it just doesn't get bad at all and they're just alright. So that's a great thing to start today with. Next thing I want to talk about are the 5 people from the UK who are in France and got infected in the Alps. That's the least likely place you would have thought someone would be infected, right? If you would have thought, where should you go if there's some kind of apocalypse, some kind of contagious, crazy disease that's going around, where would you like to go? I'm sure one of the first places you would think about would be somewhere in the mountains or somewhere in the forest, somewhere in the desert, somewhere where there's no people. And when I saw the Alps, I was just like, what? Are you serious? And 5 people from the UK in the Alps of all places. So that's interesting. So they've been infected with the coronavirus, although when I looked at the numbers, it didn't add onto the UK numbers. So I'm not sure if they're counting the nationalities of the people that are infected or if they're counting where the people are when they get infected. So does anyone have any information on that? I've not really been focusing on it so much because usually the people who have been infected in other countries, it's usually that they are of that country's nationality. But this time, I didn't notice it being added onto the UK's tally. I think the UK was still at 3 when I looked this morning, so I'm not sure what's going on with that. I'm sorry, I had to move because just then my son was being so noisy as usual. Anyway, so I was going to say, there are unconfirmed reports of a Japanese person and an American person that have died from the coronavirus. I say unconfirmed because once again, I've looked on the website for the counts of these people and I don't see it being updated, but yeah, I've seen it reported in some news, so maybe it'll be updated tomorrow. I'm not sure, but I did see this report yesterday and it wasn't updated today, so maybe it's just all a lie. Who knows?
The first in the deadly coronavirus outbreak. The U.S. Embassy in Beijing confirmed overnight that the first American has died from the virus at the epicenter in the Chinese city of Wuhan.
When you catch the virus or when you die from the virus, you're not in your home country. Where does that count as? For example, if I caught the virus, would it count for China's total or would it count for the UK's total? Because I'm not in the UK, you know, how does that work? Today, the police came to my home with a leaflet. It's in A4. I'll put a copy of it on the screen. You can have a try and read it. Nothing too special. It's just general information, which I already kind of knew. It's saying, follow instructions, go onto the Beijing government website. I can follow the Beijing government WeChat. I can take precautions, avoid crowded places, wash my hands, wear a mask. And if I do have any symptoms, to seek medical help. They've got a phone number here. And they've told me apparently 20 dedicated hospitals. It says list attached, but there is no list. That's interesting. There's a phone number to find out about the pneumonia outbreak. The pneumonia outbreak, okay. And they're saying it's in 8 different languages and let's control the viral pneumonia. They're calling it the viral pneumonia instead of the... Oh, they did say the pneumonia caused by the coronavirus. Okay, whatever. But yeah, when the police came to the door, they came with a light and a camera. So they were like recording the conversation and I was like, whoa. It's like when you open the door and there's a light in your face with the camera. So I just sort of like turned around and then I sent Hillary to the door to deal with the police because I can't bother to talk to them. Hillary sent me a picture today from someone at her work and it is... I'll put it on the screen, you can see it. It's so people don't need to touch the buttons at the lift. They can use their foot instead. So if you're going up or down, you just push it, kick it with your foot, and it'll push onto the button of the lift and send you to where you need to be. Because, you know, I have seen some little viral videos of people doing all sorts of nasty stuff in the lift. Even though we know that there's this coronavirus going around, people are still doing nasty stuff like spitting on the buttons and stuff like that. So a lot of the lifts I've seen now, first of all, they have tissue, like sellotaped into the lift, like a pack of tissues. And also, some of the lifts, they have a layer of, it looks like cling film. It's like a sticky back, like cling film, and it's over the entire panel for the lift buttons, and then they just replace that every day. I guess it's safer than just cleaning the buttons. So that's happening, that's a thing. One thing that's interesting, I haven't heard anything much today about the people on that ferry. The last few days they were talking about how the numbers are going up for the amount of people that are infected. But today, maybe it was just me, I didn't catch reports, but it seemed a little bit quiet about the ferry. So I'm curious to know how many more people on that ferry have been infected. The reports that I've seen are just talking about life in quarantine on the ferry, etc. But nothing more about the number infected, because they only tested a few hundred out of the few thousand. So it'll be interesting to see how many more people are infected there. I'm telling you, they need to get those people off the ferry. Get them off the ferry, put them in some other kind of quarantine. But like that ferry, I feel like it's just gonna be a breeding ground for this virus. I think the longer they stay on there, the more risk they're gonna be exposed to. The coronavirus has taken over SARS now. SARS virus killed 774 people worldwide. The coronavirus so far is over 800 people have died, and many still infected. We don't know, the recovery rate, the death rate is still unclear. And finally, yesterday I made a video talking about rumors and stuff like that, about the news that's coming out of China from the coronavirus. And I got a few comments on there, and one thing that I've noticed, or one thing that I feel, is that people who are not in China are getting the news from these news companies that are really overhyped and, I don't know, trying to sell newspapers or get clicks, I'm not sure, but a lot of it is big hype. I've looked online quite a lot and found a lot of YouTubers who are in China, and they're all saying the same sort of thing, that there isn't that crazy panic that they're seeing on the news. It's, yeah, sure, the streets are empty and there may be some things happening around the epicenter, around Wuhan and stuff like that, to contain the virus, which may or may not be used back in our home countries, but the only crazy stuff that's happening is in Wuhan. The rest of the country is on lockdown, quarantined, but we are free to go around the city. Just wear a face mask, we're free to go anywhere in the city. We're just more restricted in terms of coming out of the city, but we could if we wanted to. I watched a YouTuber today, I forgot who it was now, damn it. I watched a YouTuber today saying, just look on the flight radar. There's that app where you can see all the planes and where they're going. Just have a look at that. The planes are still going. Sure, there may not be as many as usual, but the planes are still going from Beijing to wherever in China, and from China, wherever in China to Beijing. It's still happening, they're still flying, and they're still even leaving China too. So we are free to go where we want. The quarantine is not what you think it is. So let's all relax. And I got a funny comment. Rusty Smith, he called me Captain China Clapper. Well done, China. Clap, 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 clap. He thinks I love China. There's so many things I like about here and so many things I hate about here. I guess it's the same with anywhere. You go to somewhere and there'll be things that you really like and things that you really don't like, things that you really enjoy and things that really get on your nerves and drive you crazy. Nowhere's perfect. And I can't say I love China and China is the best or anything like that, but some things that they do, we need to give them credit where it's due. Sure, criticize the hell out of them when they do stupid stuff. I know what's happening in Xinjiang. I know. And I don't agree with it, but it's a part of what's happening in a massive country that I don't like. There's things that happen in every country that I don't like. I'm not even going to go into the politics of all the countries and what they're doing. But anyway, China's not perfect. I'm not Captain China Clapper or like everything China does is great or whatever. I'm not really. It may seem like that, or it may have seemed like that in the last video, because I was just pointing out a few things that they have done that I thought and I still think are pretty good compared to my own experience back home. That's all. Anyway, I hope we can all be friends. That's all for today. I can't think of anything else. I am still unsure about some of these numbers in some of these other countries because I know that there's like a massive Chinese population in Africa and we yet to see any reports of it in Africa. And I think was it Malaysia or Singapore and even Thailand, they're thinking the numbers are too low because of the amount of travel from Wuhan and from China in general before everything was on lockdown. So these places, either the virus is going undetected or people are just getting sick and dying and no one's really knowing the real reason behind it. So I don't know. I also hope there is a cure found very soon for this virus and that we can all just get on with our lives and live happily ever after. Alright, I'm gonna go. See you tomorrow for another update, I think. Hopefully there's nothing major in the news tomorrow and I can just chill and talk about some other stuff. Alright, see you then. Bye-bye.